Hello viewers, I'm 118 and welcome to yet another episode of my GTA ramming series where I rank the vehicles in each class from worst to best in terms of vehicle momentum and use that as the closest scientific approach I can to establishing which vehicle is the best in each class at ramming. And in this episode we're covering the Vans class, which at time of recording during the after hours update has 22 vehicles in it. And as always, in the background you are seeing a countdown from worst to best in vehicle momentum. The values of vehicle momentum are shown on the screen in units of kilogram meters per second. Momentum is calculated by multiplying a vehicle's top speed by its weight. Such values can be obtained from Bruffy1322's testing spreadsheet. Links to his website and YouTube channel in the video description. You can find links to his testing spreadsheet from there. And there's a link down in the video description to the GTA wiki, which is where all of these images come from. There's a link to the playlist of mine of this video series, in case you want to see other classes of vehicle that I've done. And there's a link to my spreadsheet, which contains all the information I've done on this series thus far. I will add to that spreadsheet once I've done more videos for this series. And there are links to individual pieces of music that you hear in the background. So, the Vans class. A few vehicles in here that should not be in the class, like the Bobcat XL that you're seeing now. And the Bison, and it's quite an interesting class actually, because it praises vehicles that you wouldn't otherwise praise because they're no good in other respects. You know, the vehicles at the top that we're going to see in the top 5, especially after the Gang Burrito here in 6th, are in the top 5 because they are heavy, not because they're fast. And so they're generally quite forgettable vehicles. But here we have the camper in 5th place. You know, and I'm not really going to say that these are particularly forgettable vehicles because they're kind of unique. I mean, the only thing that's similar to the camper really in terms of what the vehicle would actually be used for is the Journey, which is here in 4th place. They're the RVs, you know, the motorhomes. The camper being a more European style, the Journey is more of a traditional American style. And then in 3rd place we'll have the Taco Van, which, you know, probably not a very forgettable vehicle because it's very brightly coloured, you know. And just to give you an idea of what kind of weights you can expect from some of these vehicles, the Journey and the camper that we saw, they weigh 4 tons, which, you know, is a lot. The Taco Van and the Boxville here in 2nd place, they weigh 5.5 tons. And it's easy to see why. You know, they're very, very big, hefty vehicles, and it's because of that weight that they get so high in terms of momentum. Although they're all beaten by the armoured Boxville, which takes the 1st place position in this list with its 7.5 tons, and the top speed of 87 miles per hour, which is better than the other vehicles in the top 5, but still not particularly good top speed. So here's the graph comparing all the values. As we see, the armoured Boxville is way out in front with its massive momentum value compared to everything else. Then we've got the Boxville and the Taco Van, sort of with values about half that of the armoured Boxville. And then we've got sort of everything else in the same sort of gradual decrease or increase, depending on which direction you go in, of momentum. You know, we're used to that from other classes. So you know, Surfer, unsurprisingly, is in the bottom position. It's very, very slow. Doesn't even manage 70 miles per hour, which is very slow by today's standards. I'm sure you'll agree. So let's see how some of these vehicles do when we actually see them ram stuff. First up, we've got the Rumpo Custom on the left and the Surfer on the right. These were two vehicles quite down near the bottom of the list for momentum, which is not that bad because they're vans after all. They're still quite heavy, so they still get quite good momentum, but they are very bad at ramming for other reasons. The Surfer is just far too slow in every respect, and it loses all of its speed when it performs a ram, and so you can't get up to speed to do another ram very quickly. The Rumpo Custom, on the other hand, has very bouncy suspension and will often either spin out when it rams something or try to climb over the top of it, which is not the first time we've seen that behavior, let's be honest. So they're not too good. Next up we've got the Yuga, which is on the right, and the Speedo Custom on the left, which is one of the nightclub delivery vehicles, so it's a new vehicle. The Yuga is not that bad. It doesn't spin out whenever it rams something, but a bit like the Surfer, just not to the same extent. It just doesn't get up to its speed very quickly, so you can't perform rams very often. Otherwise, the Yugas, there's no real problem with that. The Speedo Custom, on the other hand, with all the bells and whistles attached, including the wedge at the front, I'm not sure whether that makes a difference or not, but the Speedo Custom doesn't seem to have a lot of traction and will spin out a lot when it rams things, so that's not particularly good at ramming either. We'll just see the king of the class though, the armoured box fill, and because it has the special ramming physics like the ramp buggy that we saw in the off-road vehicles class, and a certain other vehicle with a wedge that I'm sure you can remember, it just launches things out of the way, and that's why, along with the momentum, it is by far, and I mean a really, really long way, the best vehicle in the Vans class at ramming other vehicles. It will probably struggle a bit when it tries to ram bigger trucks and buses, things like that, but when it's just ramming cars and vans and things, it'll have no problem smashing through, well, at least most of the time. So, that's it for this video, viewers. Very unsurprisingly, the armoured box fill is so dominant at ramming in the Vans class that it's almost no bother really considering the rest of them. As always, if you aren't subscribed already, do feel free to do so. If you want to see more videos in this video series about other classes coming soon, the next one that I'll do will be the utility class. So hopefully I'll see you there. As always, good luck with whatever games you're playing, and I'll see you next time.